guys, welcome back to another Netflix movie review. Today we are reviewing Good Grief. Now this was one that was on my list right from the off. It looked really good, had a star-studded cast, directed by Dan Levy and also starring Dan Levy. We get Ruth Negga, we get Himesh Patel, we get Luke Evans, we also get David Bradley in the movie, although he does play a very small role. But we get some good actors in this film, and it's very insightful. For the first direction debut for Dan Levy, who has been in a lot of like comedies and stuff. I think he's been in like Schitt's Creek, and also I think he was in Haunted Mansion and stuff like that, the Disney's remake, which came out last year. But for the directional debut, I think it was pretty solid. Really enjoyed the film. But basically what happens is Dan Levy is playing Mark, and his husband is Oliver, who is Luke Evans' character. And it's a Christmas. It's a really nice start to the film. You can tell like Oliver, his husband, is really entertaining to everyone and really like, you know, hospitable to everyone in their house and all that, and they're singing songs and all that because it's Christmas, and it's a good start. He basically leaves the house, he goes to get in his taxi, and then all of a sudden there's like an accident out the front, and we didn't actually see the accident, but he did pass away. So all of a sudden he loses his husband, and obviously that's where the grief comes from. So he has to like grieve over it. But while he's actually grieving and he's obviously really upset and stuff like that, they basically go on like a trip to Paris just to like go and clear their head. When they were doing like the will in the estate, they actually saw that he owned a property in Paris, which, you know, he was like a big up and coming like movie director or something, or dance director. And, you know, he would have properties around UK and stuff like that, and all around the world. So it wasn't unheard of, but it turns into, you know, this place was actually somewhere that he was meeting somebody, this person called Luca, who was like a love interest for Luke Evans' character. So, you know, Mark actually has to deal with then that grief, and, you know, goes on this like F you kind of rage of like, you know, what he thought was this. And that's where the film kind of dropped off to me. When it actually went into that side of things of learning about, you know, the whole aspect of like, you know, him cheating and having this double life, it fell apart for me. I really enjoyed the beginning bit of the film, like when he was alive, and then like him actually grieving, and like the aesthetically look of the film, and, you know, him getting hit on in bars or whatever, and he being like, no, I'm like recently just going through this thing and I'm not in a place to think. It was a good, nice, wholesome movie. But I did find myself caring a lot about the other characters more. Himesh Patel, who is like playing Thomas, who was his like best friend, I guess, or one of his close friends. And then Sophie was played by Ruth Negga. She had like this topsy-turvy lifestyle of like, she was with somebody and then she broke up with them, and then she was single. So yeah, there was more stuff going on with those characters, I felt, than the other characters. But it was a very easy film to watch, one I very much did enjoy, to be honest with you. As I did say, David Bradley is in the movie, but he is basically playing Luke Evans' father. So he's there at like the funeral, he's there at the beginning, but then he's not really there at any part, maybe towards the end as well. But it's a very nice film, written, directed, and starring Daniel Levy. I gave it a 3.5 star. I think for somebody who can have that much talent and also be able to, you know, produce a film to this quality at the end of it, I think is pretty good. It's definitely one that, you know, does fall off towards the end for me. I was more intrigued at the first maybe hour and 10 minutes, but the last half an hour it kind of did fall off a little bit for me. Not that I got a bit bored, but it was a bit like, right, come on, let's get this done now, come on. But like I say, I think it's when the love interest kind of stuff started, it really started to fall off a little bit for me. But I would highly recommend Good Grief. Definitely, like, it's a romantic drama film, but it's definitely not as good as things like Past Lives that I've done in my review from last year. So if you are interested in seeing a good, you know, a good movie in that aspect, then go and check that out, because I 100% would recommend you do. But yeah, a very good film. Cannot wait to see what maybe Daniel does next in terms of a directional stuff, but I think a very solid entry for a first directional debut, written, produced, all that stuff. As I say, good performances, good cast, good story in the most part, and you know, set in Britain as well. So it's nice to see Britain on the screen, you know. It's on Netflix. Should it have been in cinemas? I always ask this question at the end. No, I think it does fit as a streaming movie. I think it's rightly fitting a Netflix brand, if that makes sense. It's not too good quality like Apple stuff, but it's not terrible like, you know, a BBC film. I think it's very mid-range, but better than mid-range in terms of 3.5 stars. So there it is. There is my review of Good Grief. Let me know your thoughts down below. Have you seen it? I would recommend you do. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.